The one thing about this scheme that felt real to Cherry, the single thing she could literally roll around in her mouth as if it were a marble, was her belief in her man. Sure, he didn't brush his teeth more than once every 4 days, and when he did, he scrubbed so hard that white drool ended up on the bathroom walls and in his hair, and yeah, once or twice on his ass. How you brush your teeth and got toothpaste on your ass, Cherry could never figure, but her man did it. And okay, it was true. He used her purse as his personal ATM. And whenever she took him to the movies, he crunched food through all the previews. And one time when the preview came on for the animated movie about a horse that could never be tamed, at the part where the sunset was glowing and the little girl was hugging her horsey around its neck, and the cute animated child said, "Spirit, you'll always be in my heart." Admittedly, Ponyboy had cupped his hands around his mouth and screamed, "Boo!" Her boyfriend was indeed the smelly, muscle-bound asshole who heckled little girls and their cartoon horsies. The man she loved had spent a full, uninterrupted month trying to embed cordless phones into vibrators, to this day insisting that done correctly, hands-on phone sex was a sure-fire gold mine. Ponyboy was constantly dumping his shit all over the floor, peeing on the toilet seat, blasting the abomination he called music at a volume that caused the neighbors' plants to wither and go brown. He was preternaturally absent whenever it came time to pay his share of the utilities, prepare a meal, or wash one goddamn dish. Although if Jasmine, Rain, or any of Cherry's other friends from work were over, wasn't it something how Ponyboy just happened to be hanging out? Too many times Cherry had caught him staring at Jasmine's big round caboose, and whenever she called him on it, he got angry. What? How am I not gonna look at that? Like it was her fault for catching him. Cherry would bet her tits that Ponyboy had cheated on her, at least 3 specific women she could think of, and she had suspicions about more. This was off the top of her head. Without even getting into the breast implant thing, her boyfriend's desire to have her do hardcore porn notwithstanding, it wasn't real hard to see the scales of justice tilting heavily on one side. In the hard, cold light of truth, Cherry definitely could see the verdict. She could ask herself, just what the hell was she doing with this guy? But what was funny was how easily the light of truth could change. How the correct verdict wasn't necessarily the obvious one. Some boyfriends, you came to them with their problem and they said, "What have you done now?" Some said, "Don't worry, it'll be all right." Legend had it, there were boyfriends who responded, "What can I do to help?" But with Ponyboy, you shared your problem, and right off the bat, he laughed. Then he said your problem wasn't even a problem. You should hear about what's happening to his friend, this guy who had an effing battery shoved through his nose. Ponyboy would get to talking, and while he talked, he'd raid your fridge because he'd been smoking your dope all night, and he had the munchies. And so now, while he was playing down your troubles and topping them, he was also spitting chunks of your food all over, going on and on about the guy with the battery in his nose. And maybe you hadn't been listening correctly, because somehow the story had morphed. It had turned into something involving Ponyboy being camped out in a drainage pipe. Ponyboy trying to sleep while just down the way from him, this fucking space alien was boning some chick. A story about rain coming down and tons of water flowing through the drainage pipe, and the space alien didn't have a penis. It had like these big, long tentacles. So boning maybe wasn't the right word. And it's raining so bad that Ponyboy couldn't stay in the pipe. But at the same time, he's got to stay in there. Because really, how many times do you get to see a space alien bang some chick? And Cherry, in her kitchen, listening to this, Cherry would find the scales of justice tipping even further, because none of her problems were being solved. In fact, thinking about it, she had all of her old problems, plus her fridge was empty, and her stash was gone, and now, in addition to being filthy and obnoxious, in addition to lying, mooching, and philandering, in addition to being an opportunist and an egomaniac and just a fucking dick, there was the very real and disturbing possibility that Ponyboy was a full-on, batteries included, no assembly required, moron. An insatiable lightness took her, a gust of uneasy delight. She sat and laughed and finally couldn't take any more. Stop shitting me. Was there really a space alien? Ponyboy gave this constipated look. Haven't you been listening? I'm not talking about a space alien here. I'm fucking talking about survival. And well, how was she supposed to keep a straight face? Let's see. If this was dark, it would be so cool. It would be so. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And let me just rip this through. And well, how was she supposed to keep a straight face? It was like watching your dog shit on some lady's lawn right when that woman's coming out of her house. It was like walking down the street and seeing a little kitten, so cute, perfect and cute, that was all you could do not to drop kick that little fucker. It was the moment when you saw something that you knew was fucked up and wrong, but still could not help yourself. When you could not control your actions and were going on autopilot, and maybe later you would feel bad about it and pledge to be a better person, but right now, oh well. The wrongness was the endearing part. Wrongness was the bond, the turn-on. And yeah, Ponyboy may have very well been a filthy, obnoxious, lying, mooching, philandering opportunist. Probably he was a moron to boot. But he was Cherry's moron. Whatever problems the two of them had in an empty kitchen, they had together. Whatever bullshit they had to face, they would survive together. And so what if Cherry couldn't sit still for 10 seconds, think about the idea of a video camera capturing her naked body, and feel anything except a desire to run for the hills? So the hell what? Because the idea of her getting filmed with her man, the thought of all those lonely people queuing up the videotape and watching her and Ponyboy, well, that was a lemur of a whole other stripe. Thank you so much. And you're in for a real treat because we have one of the